Do you know what happened to Adriana tonight?
No, I don't.
She talked to us. She said that you and Heather did this to her. So that's what we're talking about.
That is the moment. Tina hears it and freezes. The room is small. Fluorescents hum. A camera sits in the corner. The detective's voice stays level. He does not raise it. He does not need to. Cut to a 2-lane road in Florida at night. Trees crowd the shoulder. A trunk slams. A flash of fire pops and dies. Back to the peephole of a front door. A burned hand knocks twice. Slow, careful, alive. The victim is not dead. She crawled to help. She used what voice she had left. She said names. Tina's name. Heather's name. That is not rumor. That is a statement made while the pain was still fresh. Here is the promise. We follow the feud. We follow the alibi. We follow the knock at the door. We show how a whisper turned into a case. We show why the end still hurts. Low drone under the scene. A heartbeat in the mix. Cut the sound to 0 on the line. She said you and Heather did this. Florida. Small community, big lie. Roll the tape back, start the night over. The night begins. Tina's alibi.
Where were you tonight?
At Heather's.
At Heather's house?
Heather said she was going to cook, so I went down there and she was cooking fish and french fries, and then we just started watching movies.
You were there all night until the cops came up there?
Tina keeps it simple. Fried fish, french fries, movies on the TV. She says she never left the couch. She repeats it the same way each time, like she practiced it.
Okay. Tina, you know, can I call you Tina?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Obviously know something's up. So tell me what happened tonight.
Nothing happened that I know of. Heather just said that something about Adriana got beat up real bad.
Okay. You don't know anything about that?
No.
See your arms and hands if I can.
We set the people. Tina Brown, her daughter Brittany, her friend Heather Lee. They live close. They share rides. They share problems. They have the kind of bond that turns talk into action. There was bad blood this week, jealousy. A boyfriend in and out of the picture. A window got smashed. Someone said, "You got my boyfriend locked up." They fought before, they made up, they fought again. That is the pattern on this street. B-roll plays the story. Grease crackles in a pan. TV light flickers on a wall. A clock slides past sunset. The camera sits on the scratches again. Straight lines and curved lines. Not the kind a puppy makes when it is playing. Lower thirds tag each name. Tina Brown, suspect. Heather Lee Mason, friend. Brittany, Tina's daughter. Keep it clear. Keep it fair. The detective writes her timeline on a pad when she arrived. Who was there? When she left? He does not fight her on it yet. He lets the clock do that. If a story breaks, it breaks at the edges. Tina swears she never left the couch. But someone left. Someone opened a door. Someone set this night in motion. What Adriana walked into. Earlier that day, 19-year-old Adriana tried to fix it. She went to Tina's to talk. She thought it would be words and a door closing. She was wrong. The door opened. The room was quiet. The first sound was a taser sharp crack. Legs go out. The next sound was heavier metal on bone. A crowbar hitting and scraping. Voices rise. A chair moves. A frame rattles on the wall. They moved her fast. The trunk lifted. Hinges complained. The lid dropped and caught. The latch clicked tight. Tires bumped over gravel and out to the road. The turnoff came later. Sand, pine, no lights. They stopped in the trees, Aiken tipped. Liquid ran. The forest was still for a second. Then a soft whoosh. Fire snapped up. Not big, not loud, enough. Footsteps backed away. Brush broke. A car door closed. Taillights pulled out and faded. They walked off sure of themselves. Sure she would not speak. Sure heat would cover what they did. Sure the story ended here. But the story did not end. It moved. A hand found dirt. Fingers dug. Skin stuck to the ground and peeled back. A knee dragged. Then another. Breath by breath, she made it to a yard light. Then to a door. Then to a knock. Back in the room, the detective knows this timeline. He knows what comes next. He knows the alibi will crack. He knows a victim spoke and named names. They thought it ended in the woods. It didn't. Now the words in that living room will decide what happens next. The crawl and the whisper. Porch light, one bulb buzzing, a door that sticks in the frame, then the knock, soft, uneven. A stranger looks through the peephole and sees a hand, blackened and shaking, pressed to the glass. Bare feet on concrete dirt, packed into skin that looks like paper. She is burned over 60%, but she is moving, on elbows, on knees. One short push at a time. The door opens halfway. Air rushes. The smell hits first. Fuel and scorched cloth. Help! She gets out. One word. Enough to snap the house awake. Sirens don't scream here. They grow from a distance. Red bars crawl across siding. Paramedic gloves snap on, blue against embered skin. A blanket goes down so they can lift without tearing. Count it out, stay with me, a medic says, calm like a metronome. Gurney wheels whisper across the driveway. Straps click. Pulse check. Oxygen mask. She flinches, then focuses. She wants to speak. Save it, a medic warns, then sees her insist. They lean close. She whispers, names. Two of them clear enough to write, clear enough to repeat. That is the quote that changes the whole night. The hospital takes her critical. Fluids. Burn protocol. They prepare a room that looks like the moon. White, reflective, bright. Doctors talk in code and numbers. Will she make it? No one says yes. No one says no. They work. Back at the door, a neighbor stares at the black line her crawl left on the concrete. The porch light keeps humming. The stretcher is already gone. On screen, a simple waveform animates. Small peaks for breath, one taller ridge for each name she said. The audio is low, but you feel it more than you hear it. It's enough. Back at the station, that whisper hits like a brick. Interrogation. I. The calm mask.
Okay. Tina, you know, can I call you Tina? Okay.
Detective sets the pen down so it won't feel like a test. Tina nods. Shoulders squared. She wants to look steady.
Know anything about that?
No.
See your arms and hands if I could. Okay, and what's this right here? That little scratch there.
This?
Yeah.
I have a puppy.
Okay, and your puppy calls that?
Look, I'm gonna move here.
Got your chin.
Hands? He asks it like a favor. She turns them over. Small lines on the fingers. A thin scrape along the chin. Puppy did it, she says. The words come fast. Her eyes drop to the table and stay there a second too long. He lets the silence stretch. She fills it.
Where were you tonight?
At Heather's.
At Heather's house?
Heather said she was gonna cook, so I went down there. She was cooking fish and French fries, and then we just started watching movies.
You were there all night until the cops came up there?
Mm-hmm.
She builds the alibi in clean blocks. I went to Heather's at sunset. She was cooking fried fish and French fries. We watched movies. We never left the couch. She does not fence with him. She repeats. Same beats, same words. Rehearsal dressed as memory. Split screen the scene. Her answers on the left. Time-coded notes on the right. Every sunset gets a question mark. Every never left gets a thin underline. He doesn't challenge the story head on. He pushes at the edges. Who else was there? Anyone? Stop? By? What time did you arrive exactly? The mask stays on, but the seams show. Micro tells creep in. Lip touch when he says evidence. A chair slump when he mentions critical. A throat clear when he circles back to the hands. These are not confessions, but they are not nothing. Stress leaves fingerprints too. He gives her rope. Not to hang herself, just enough for the timeline to catch. So it was already dark when you got there? About how long until someone else came by? Each answer tightens the loop around two simple claims. Never left, saw nothing. He keeps his voice level. No heat, no rush. He knows alibis don't explode, they fray. One loose thread at a time. He writes her phrases verbatim, boxy letters in the margin, sunset, all night, movies. Later, those exact words will sit next to cell hits, door knocks, and kitchen timers, and they won't line up. For now, the calm mask holds, but under it, the pulse is up. He can hear it in the breath she saves for the word puppy. Alibis don't break in the big moments. They fray in the edges. The neighborhood context, feuds, rumors, pressure. This street breathes rumors. Trailers in a row, yards tight together. A fight can cross 3 porches in an hour. Everyone hears it. The history is layered. Boyfriends and loyalty tests, who texted who called DCF. A smashed window that no one owns. We've had problems, Tina admits, like she's reading a weather report. Rain, then sun, then rain again. Brittany's piece sits in the middle. She says Adriana slept with her boyfriend. Maybe it's true, maybe it isn't. In a neighborhood like this, belief moves faster than proof. Hurt becomes motive, even if the facts don't keep up.
I actually just started back talking today.
Okay.
Because I asked her this morning, what was I doing this morning? I was trying to make some phone calls, and I wanted to heat up some chicken. So I asked her would she put the church's chicken in her microwave, and she heated it up for me and brought it to my house.
Okay. Do you know what happened to Adriana tonight?
No, I don't. Heather just said she got beat up, but that's all I know.
A little bit more than that.
She talks about microwave chicken and borrowed streaming logins, as if the small normal things could scrub the week clean. Maybe she wants to believe it. Maybe she wants you to. B-roll keeps it simple. A cracked pane filmed close. Text bubbles slide up the screen with names redacted, only timestamps visible. A flood that spikes the night before a porch camera catches kids on bikes looping the cul-de-sac. Proof that eyes are always out here, that noise travels. Pressure builds in small ways, not a single bombshell. A stack, a tone. The sense that the air itself is charged and somebody will have to ground it. The detective doesn't need to paint a motive in neon. He just needs to show the scaffolding, the support beams that hold a bad decision up long enough to do damage. Then, mid-alibi, comes the line that cuts through all the spin. No rumor, no maybe, no he said, she said. Just one quiet sentence that lands like a door slamming shut. Then comes the line no one expects to hear mid-alibi. The bombshell. She named you.
Sure if she's gonna make it or not.
No, I don't.
Did she talk to us, or she talked to the people that came over to help her?
Mm-hmm.
She told them something. You know what she told them?
I could just imagine what's that.
She said that you and Heather did this to her.
Everything stops. Chair creaks, air shifts. Tina's chin drops a few degrees. That's the freeze. Not long, but enough to mark the hit.
But she said I called. She's been saying a lot of stuff lately.
Okay.
She said I called, because this is all.
Tina answers, voice thin. It's the first deflect. Not a denial, an attempt to fog the window. The detective doesn't chase the fog. He wipes the glass clean. Tina touches her lips. Stress tell, plain as day. She lifts her eyes, tries to find a safer version of the night.
And you said tonight you were over at Heather and Darren's, right?
Yes, sir.
And you didn't go anywhere?
No.
Did anybody come over there while you were there?
She repeats. The alibi again, like a raft she refuses to leave even as it takes on water.
7, so you don't know anything prior to that?
No.
Okay. And your wife tells me this story about Tina coming in, saying the cops are outside, and that y'all look out and you see the cops surrounding Miss Zimmerman's trailer. And she says for y'all not to answer the door. Now, I don't recall any of that conversation going on in yours. Now, I do remember you saying y'all didn't answer the door because it was police.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
I don't want to say the police was out there.
Okay, so you don't recall Tina coming in and saying that the police are outside?
Tina was already in the house.
Because your wife tells us that you and her are at home alone.
The room doesn't shout. It narrows. The questions come slower, closer, simpler. If she never left the couch, why do your stories not match? Why do Heather's and Darren's timelines drift? Why would a girl that hurt, that close to dying, use her breath to say your name? No answer. Not a real one. A shoulder lift, a half shake, another glance at the table. The calm mask has a crack now, right across the middle. If she never left the couch, why do their stories never match? The alibi starts to split. Versions and visitor stories don't break clean. They peel, layer by layer, and Tina's alibi starts peeling fast. The detective asks who came by Heather's that night.
And you said tonight you were over at Heather and Darren's, right?
Yes, sir.
And you didn't go anywhere?
No.
Did anybody come over there while you were there?
Simple question. Should have a simple answer. Instead, Tina paints with fog. Maybe. Might could be. The kind of witnesses you can't confirm because they barely exist in her sentences.
Went outside and talked to him.
And what was Darren doing while y'all over there cooking? Anything?
Laid on the couch watching movies.
Is that pretty much what y'all were doing all the way until the cops came?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you, Darren, and Tina were sitting in the living room. Heather were sitting there in the living room watching movies.
Mm-hmm.
And when the cops knocked on the door, what'd y'all do?
We were sitting there.
Always on the couch. A couch so perfect it becomes the stage, the alibi, the shield.
We're left there. Because, see, the story between Heather and Darren is already shaky. And your story is a third version of what they've told us so far. It's a serious allegation. I mean, this is life-changing. And somebody's life may end over this. We're getting told that she's in pretty critical condition at this point and not likely to make it.
Silence is the pressure. It works better than shouting ever could. And through all those contradictions, one thing stands firm. Someone left. Someone moved when the alibi says, everyone stayed still. And out in the woods, the truth is cooling under ashes and dirt, waiting for someone brave enough to crawl out and say a name. While timelines clash on paper, the truth is still out in the woods. Forensics and fire. What evidence survives? They thought fire would erase everything fire rarely does. Burn sites fight investigators, heat warps, burnt clothes, smoke coats, ash berries, but destruction leaves its own footprints. Fibers in a trunk, lining, cling to clothes. Accelerant leaves a chemical fingerprint even when the flame eats everything else. Dirt transferred to rubber, then to bone, tells a travel story. Soot settles in patterns. Heat rises in predictable plumes. Forensics isn't magic, it's patience with math. Trunk carpeting fibers show up where they don't belong. Footwear shapes press into soft ground beside tire ruts. The route matters, the distance, the time, the stop-start rhythm. Investigators read transport patterns like handwriting and burn doctors. They read wounds. The medical team documents every burn line, every drip pattern, proving accelerant spread faster than a normal flame. Ever could infographics roll in? Trunk silhouette. Arrows for fiber transfer, a plume model showing how accelerant burns hotter at the base, and fans outward evidence bags label what fire tried to hide. Gloves lift char flakes like ancient artifacts. And still the most important evidence doesn't sit in a bag. It breathes, talks, names names. She is the witness who wasn't supposed to survive, and every whisper she gave the medics matches. The physical trail the perpetrators thought they had erased. Fire didn't wipe their trail. It lit it. And the most important evidence, still breathing, is talking. Interrogation 2. Tone shift to moral pressure. Facts aren't enough anymore. The detective switches gears. No more friendly tone, no more shared coffee energy. This is conscience work now.
Go get anything or go anywhere at all?
I don't think so.
Okay. You seem kind of lackadaisical about this. I'm telling you that this woman is probably going to die and has named you as the person that's harmed her.
The room drops 10 degrees. Tina blinks slow. Not panic, calculation. She tries neutrality, the safe face. But neutrality feels wrong in a case built on betrayal and fire lip.
It kind of, doesn't sit easy with me that you're just so nonchalant about this.
I just talked to her today, and I told her I never called DCFS on the kids.
Okay. Well, she's probably going to die, is the word we're getting. And we're concerned over that. And the last person she said...
Touch again. That tiny stress tick showing more truth than any sentence she manages.
That y'all did it. And we're sitting here talking to you, and then I'd certainly appreciate, and I know Tom appreciates that you're talking to us. But we got to get to the bottom of this, and we got to know what happened, the truth. And there are two choices here. Either you're going to tell us, or Heather's going to tell us. So, who's going to be?
I didn't do anything to her.
Okay.
Someone will talk. Someone always talks first. Tina looks at the table like the answer might be written there. Silence settles, thick as smoke. The camera catches her throat move. She knows the weight of the question. If she stays quiet, Heather becomes the narrator. If she speaks, she chooses self-preservation over loyalty. No micro-admissions yet, but her stillness is louder than when she talked. She is holding the dam with both hands, and the detective can see the water rising behind her eyes. Cutaways to the blank notepad. No notes needed right now. Moral pressure does the writing. A clock hallway shot flashes. Time outside keeps moving. Time in this room crawls. Somewhere in a hospital, a fight for life is happening in real time. And that fact makes Tina's silence feel louder than any denial. The clock outside the room is moving faster than the one inside. The timeline. We don't see. Planning the trap. They think they planned it tight. Phone pings, maps, short hops, not long trips. Text sent earlier. Come talk. We should fix this. Reconciliation bait. It works. A taser is chosen to drop her fast crowbar to control. Trunk. Transport, to avoid neighbors seeing anything they shouldn't. A night drive, a dirt road, a clearing. A decision made in the dark by people who believed no one would hear a scream through trees. Minimalist animation rolls. Phone icon, car icon, trunk icon, flame icon. Dotted line into the woods. Then, nothing. They thought that nothing would hold forever. But she didn't disappear. She crawled through it, and in doing so, she didn't erase them. She branded them. Except they didn't erase her. They wrote their own names in Fire Hospital Fight. 16 days. She makes it to the hospital still fighting. Burn trauma protocol kicks in the moment the gurney hits the bay. Stabilization. First airway secured. Intubation. Fluids. They start graft plans before the sun rises again. Pain control becomes science mixed with mercy. Machines breathe when she can't. Doctors speak in measured tones because hope here comes in inches, not leaps. Her family stands outside the glass, faces pressed to possibility, a mother's hand on a waiting room Bible, a father staring at the floor tile pattern like it holds the future. Nurses whisper updates. We're doing everything we can. Every visitor chair creaks with prayer. 16 days. That's not just time, that's alarms at 3 a.m., medication charts, skin grafts, sterile dressings, whispered encouragement. Stay with us. Monitors beep in steady rhythm. A hand squeeze means the world. She's not gone. Not yet. Police guards rotate at the door. Lawyers call. Because in those first hours before drugs took away her speech, she said names. She identified them. And the law listens to first statements like lifelines. Her words sit in a file marked critical. She survives until she doesn't, and her fight matters. Every hour she lived carried legal weight and human meaning. She held the truth long enough to deliver it. Back at the station, the case turns from attempted to homicide. Charging decisions. Who did what trials start long before courtrooms prosecutors gather files like armor. They don't rush, they build. Tina sits at the top, the one who lured, the one who planned. Brittany steps in as blood and loyalty twisted into violence. Heather, the one whose house becomes the alibi stage, and whose silence becomes participation. 3 roles, 1 outcome. The charges follow structure, aiding, and abetting. Conspiracy, premeditation markers in texts and timing. Felony murder doctrine means participation in a violent felony that leads to death brings the same weight to every co-actor. You don't have to strike the blow to share the sentence. Law sees the plan, not the excuse. Graphics slide in. 3 names, arrows from planning to execution to cover up. A simple flow chart. Clear lines. No wiggle. Detectives testify. Medical records confirm survival, then death. Timeline evidence stacks. The burn site tells its story. The trunk fibers whisper the route. And at the top of the charging sheet, murder. They thought friendship was a shield. Law disagrees. Now, everything rests on what the jury believes more, an alibi or a whisper. Courtroom, the case, the whisper. Built courtrooms move slower than crime scenes. Every fact wears a suit. Every question holds weight. The prosecution opens with motive threads: jealousy, long-simmering feud, accusations, and retaliation. Not sensational, just human pettiness grown malignant. They bring up the broken window, the boyfriend drama, the text to talk. They map the transport theory, trunk to woods to fire. Crime scene experts show how accelerant burns faster at the base. Doctors explain burn survivability and what that means. She didn't die in the woods. She fought. Medical testimony lands like a hammer. And then, the line that built the spine of the case. She said Tina and Heather. It isn't shouted. It's said slow. Jurors don't need volume. They understand gravity. Defense pushes doubt. Small memory gaps. Trauma confusion. Visitors at the house. Could someone else have come? They question the reliability of a statement under extreme injury. They try to move the jury's focus toward uncertainty and away from the woman who crawled for her life. Photos appear. Not graphic, just path lines, dirt. Impressions, the door she reached. Jurors see the crawl distance. They hear first responders describe a whisper broken by pain, but full of clarity. They hear the emotion in the medic's voice. Then comes cross-examination on the alibis. Heather's timeline against Tina's. Darren contradicting both. The couch story flinches and collapses when pressed. The "I was there all night" line falters under oath. Jurors watch credibility crumble in real time. Camera angles catch every shift. Exhibits glow under document cameras. Courtroom feels smaller when truth corners liars. Whatever sentence the court chooses, one truth is already fixed. She named them verdict and sentencing the jury files in. No one breathes loud. Four-person stands. Words echo. Guilty, all three. Tina, the ringleader, receives a death. Brittany and Heather face life terms. No applause, no triumph. Justice isn't celebration here, it's acknowledgement. The courtroom becomes two oceans separated by aisle, one family aching with loss, another drowning in consequence. No one wins. A gavel drops. Cameras pull back. Black and white portraits fade in. A young woman smiling before all of this. Three faces that chose violence and believed silence and fire would hide it. Guard hands rest on shoulders as sentences settle heavy in the air. Outside, courthouse columns hold steady. Reporters stand where families cried moments earlier. The world keeps moving, but the people inside those pews won't forget the sound of those verdict words. The case is closed. The questions aren't reflection. Control, cruelty, and a door at midnight control doesn't always look like rage. Sometimes it looks like a text saying, "Come talk." Sometimes it sounds like fake peace. She walked believing closure, waited. Instead, ambush wore the face of friendship. The truth sat in two places, the survivor's whisper and the killer's false calm. Alibi confidence cracked the second truth, stood up on burned feet and spoke. She didn't live to see prison bars close, but her words walked into that courtroom and stayed. Communities feel violence long after the case number closes. Trailer rows don't forget. Neighbors don't forget. A small feud can turn into a wound no one can stitch. Her story isn't about fire. It's about a door. She reached despite everything, and the world that opened because she knocked. Night road shot porch light glow. First responder hands lifting gently. No faces, only care. Control failed. Cruelty failed. A whisper carried further than fear ever planned for. If you or someone you know is trapped in a cycle of intimidation or abuse, here are resources. Reach out. Silence protects the wrong people.